they found out that he had been asking questions like, hey, what's more lethal, cyanide or arsenic? Hey, what's more lethal, cyanide or nightshade? Hey, what's more lethal, cyanide or rat poison?
It's the Heather and Ryan Show. It's the Heather and Ryan. It's.
Yeah! Welcome to the Heather and Ryan Show, where all we're trying to do is put you in a better mood by the end of the episode than you're in right now. Welcome to our bubble.
We're doing the bubble again?
Yeah, we're doing the bubble again.
When did we start that?
Well, I started it on round 1 of Karen and said I wanted to bring it back and then failed to do it for 2 full episodes, and now I'm bringing it back again.
Welcome to my bubble.
Welcome to our bubble.
Welcome to it.
Love it. Love it. I even changed the logo, Ryan, so that we're both in a bubble. No, it's the same logo. I just put a bubble around our heads. And then still failed to say welcome to our bubble 2 episodes in a row. But it's back now. It's back with a vengeance. Are you ready to get into stupid deaths?
Yes. I'm bringing my A game this time. A game. I'm not going to let you down. I'm going to prove to you that I am useful.
We shall see, Ryan. I'm now about to go on and get them all wrong. I can feel it, just for being mean to you. Karma. Okay, here's how it works. I have a set of cards. On each card is the name of a historical figure, along with a description of how that person may or may not have actually died. I will read the card aloud, and then Ryan and I will team up and decide whether or not we think the described death is true or false. If we get it right, we get a point. If we don't get it right, the game gets a point. Whoever gets the most points wins the ever-coveted Gloating Rights Trophy.
Until we play again. But you know what? The bright side is, even if the game wins, we're not going to hear a peep from him.
Unless Universal Games, the creator of this game, which, by the way, is not a sponsor, I need to be mentioning that, wants to take the Gloating Rights Trophy if they win. We'll see. We'll see if Universal Games listens to this podcast. No, I'm kidding. All right. Here is our first card. William Frawley, born 1887, died 1966. True or false? Best known for playing Fred Mertz in the American sitcom I Love Lucy, Frawley had a volatile relationship with his on-screen wife Ethel, played by Vivian Vance. Upon hearing of Frawley's death due to cardiac arrest, Vance declared, "Champagne for everyone." That just sounds Hollywood true to me.
It does, and I know that he did have a volatile relationship with her. Question. Did the death get mentioned in there at all? Did I completely miss that?
It was very briefly mentioned as cardiac arrest.
And that's a stupid death?
The game may be poorly named.
Okay, fair enough. Well, I want to say that's got to be true.
I'm leaning true as well.
It seems like something a douchebag would do. If he was a douchebag. That would be a pretty douchey thing to do.
Well, it's her, isn't it? He died, and then she said champagne for everyone.
Oh, she did. Oh, gotcha. I'm still going to go with true. I think you're right. That sounds like Hollywood true.
Okay, I think it's true as well. I wish I knew more about this because it's the first I've ever heard that their relationship was not good.
Yes.
It is true. Another point for us. Huzzah.
Huzzah.
Next card. Members of the film Zeppelin died 1970. True or false? During filming over the Irish Sea, a replica SE-5 biplane and an Alouette helicopter camera ship collided in mid-air. Assistant director Birch Williams, camera operator Skeets Kelly, and pilots Jim Liddy and Gilbert Showmat were all killed. See, that could be true. That could well be true.
It really could be. And in 1977, right? That's what you said, 1977?
1970, but yeah, close enough.
1970, air traffic control probably wasn't as good as it is today.
I would imagine not.
So, and they were trying to film a scene, right?
Correct. I guess they were during filming.
I mean, that could be true.
I think it could be true. I'm leaning toward true.
Yeah, me too.
Okay. Let's find out. Did the members of the film Zeppelin die in a mid-air collision? They did. It is true.
Excellent.
We are kicking this game's butt. Oh, Ryan, Peter Sellers.
Peter Sellers. Why
Dad
does that
loves
name...
Peter Sellers.
Dad
He used to make us watch Peter Sellers movies. You don't remember?
No.
I think he's a British actor. He played bungling Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther movies. Peter Sellers.
Interesting. I think the only thing I've seen him in is the Pink Panther.
At any rate, Peter Sellers, born 1925, died 1980. True or false? Best known for his role as the bungling Inspector Clouseau in the Pink Panther movies. Yes, I did read it directly from there earlier.
Oh, okay.
Sellers cheated death on numerous occasions on film. Sadly, Peter cashed in his 9th life when he was squashed by a bus near the Port Authority in New York City as he was walking to Broadway.
Okay, well, again, it sounds true, but statistically, I'm going to go with false on this one, because we're bound to get a false in there now.
Yes, I would tend to agree. I actually lean false anyway. That does not sound... I mean, yeah, it's a possibility, but I find it highly unlikely that this is how he died.
Right.
Let's find out. Did Peter Sellers die by being crushed by a bus? He did not. That is, in fact, false. 3 points for us, 0 points for the deck of cards. Ready for card number 4?
Yes.
Pablo Picasso. Born 1881, died 1973. True or false? One of the greatest artists of the 20th century, Picasso's lesser-known passion was magic. Attempting to perform an escape trick from a barrel, he tied the chains too tightly around his neck and suffocated to death. Super false. Very false.
Say,
Falsity, false.
Because I feel like that would be a well-known fact about Picasso, if that were
Wouldn't
true.
it?
Yeah.
I also agree. All right, let's see. Did Pablo Picasso die by a magic trick gone wrong? He did not. That is not how he died. False as false could possibly be. But this game is not very hard, is it?
Well, these ones today seem like pretty plausible deaths. Some of the other ones last week sounded unbelievable.
All right, Ryan, our 5th and final card. Harry Blackstone Sr., born 1885, died 1965. True or false? The great Blackstone, probably the world's most famous illusionist, often risked his life performing dangerous stage escapes. At a horse race in Kentucky, Blackstone was unable to escape the blow from a flying horseshoe thrown by a running horse. Harry died 1 day later in room 13 of the Kentucky Baptist Hospital.
True.
I do lean false. You lean true?
I'm going to say true.
Okay.
I feel like that would be
false.
a magician's luck. An illusionist.
Well, yes, but it's a Kentucky horse race.
Mm-hmm.
Those people take those races really seriously. There's a lot of money in that. There's not going to be a shoe that's so loose on a horse in that race that it flies off. Does that happen? I don't know anything about horse racing. Maybe this happens all the time. But I feel like...
Should I ask Google how frequently horseshoes fly off of racehorses?
Yes, you should. Let's cheat a little. Love it. We've already won this game by a landslide, so it doesn't matter.
How often do horseshoes fly off of racehorses? Race horses, not resources. Stupid.
Yeah.
Okay, well, it's not giving me anything right away. It must not be that frequent. Otherwise, I'm sure it would have come up right away in a Google search.
Okay, so do you want to agree with me with false, or do you want to stick with true? I'll let you pick.
I'm sticking to my guns. I'm going to say true.
Okay. All right. Did Harry Blackstone Sr. die by flying horseshoe? He did not. That is false. Well, Ryan, the good news is 8 points for us, 2 points for the deck. We take home, collectively, the Gloating Rights Trophy. Take that, inanimate cards. Ha! Now, Ryan.
Yes.
Speaking of the Gloating Rights Trophy, I would like to award the Gloating Rights Trophy to listener Liam, who emailed us in a story.
Ooh.
Yes. And because he is the first one to take the plunge, I mean, technically it was John, Liam's dad, John. He was the first one to email us, like back in the day when we were the Politics Free podcast. So
that's right.
John, you get a retroactive Gloating Rights Trophy. And now, Liam, you get the first official The Heather and Ryan Show Gloating Rights Trophy because he sent us some sleepwalking stories. I'm going to assume inspired by our episode entitled Still Sleepwalking After All of These Years. Here we go. I have 3 stories, one short and boring, the other 2 kind of funny. So I'm not sure if I did sleepwalk or not, but it seems like it. I was sleeping the whole night, as far as I know, facing with my feet to the wall and head to the opening from where I would get out of bed, and woke up facing the complete opposite way and a pain in my head. Don't know if I slammed my head into the wall or something else, but it makes me wonder if I did sleepwalk, and if so, what I did. To which I will say, I think we have all had that morning when we wake up at least once and go, what the hell happened last night? Have you? Not even, like, okay, I'm pretty sure I haven't told this story yet. I went to bed one night. This is when I was a teenager still living at home.
Mm-hmm.
I was wearing like a t-shirt and a pair of pajama shorts. I had my head facing the usual direction, my blanket with the usual side up. I fall asleep. I wake up in the morning. My head is on the other side of the bed. The blanket's flipped the other way. My shorts are off, and there's stuff down the side of the bed between the bed and the wall. I was like, what in holy hell was I doing last? I have no idea. I have often suspected I may have been abducted by aliens that night.
Ooh.
And they just were like, close enough.
That would explain a lot.
All right. The second and third, we're back to Liam now. The second and third are similar, but there are 2 differences. When I was 6 and my sister was 7 years old, me and my sister had a bunk bed, and we would take turns every night on the top bunk. That night, my sister was at the top and I was at the bottom. I'm sleeping when all of a sudden I hear a thunk. I sat up and my sister was on the floor. I ask if she's all right, but get no answer, and she stands up and climbs back up to bed. When I told her the next morning, she called me a big liar. Well, I'm going to take your sister's side on this one, Liam. I would say that to my brother as well.
That is
you
almost
big liar.
identical what happened to me. I'm pretty sure I told the story in that sleepwalking episode, but that was me falling out of the bunk and then crawling back up into the top bunk and then waking up with a giant migraine and a sore shoulder. Turns out I concussed myself and tore a ligament in my shoulder.
You big liar. No, I'm kidding. I know that story is true. I remember it well. And then he says, apparently the same thing happened to me, except I woke up in the corner of the room. My sister had slept through it. Awesome. So he falls off and just like rolls into the corner of the room like, this is good enough. I can't be bothered to get back in bed. We got... All right. Well, Liam, thank you so much. And the Gloating Rights Trophy is yours. I even gave it to him already in the form of an emoji because we have a budget around here. One day maybe we'll have an actual Gloating Rights Trophy that we send to people. Would that be cool?
That'd be so
that
cool.
Would be cool. I got to figure out other ways people can earn the Gloating Rights Trophy. I like this. I like it.
Top story of the month.
Yeah, something like that. Whatever made us laugh the hardest so that we started choking and almost died. That would be a Gloating Rights Trophy award right there.
You can't fully go based on laughter. It could be a crazy paranormal story that makes us go,
yeah.
Whoa, no way!
Ryan, I think we will know in our gut
Yes.
when we have a gloating rights story. I think we will know. By the way, actually, no, it's too early for me to say that because I do have some Reddit stories. Because Liam was the only one with the decency to give us a story. I'm kidding. We love you all. I understand. Some people are too shy. They don't want to send. Totally fine. All right, here we go. For no reason at all, I thought we'd find most shocking thing you've seen stories. This is much too small for me to see, and I should have brought my glasses. Hold on. Zooming in.
I'm sorry, what?
Zooming in. Did you really not hear me, or are you just about to make fun of me?
No, I was going to ask you, you wear glasses? For real?
I do have, they're reading glasses that I bought at the store, but they're very handy now. My vision has slipped a bit. A bit. I still pass on my eye exams, but sometimes, especially when I'm tired, I find that I need the glasses.
Interesting.
All right, here we go. From Battery 6512. Was taken to the emergency room after a car accident for a few broken bones. Next to me was someone they just brought from a house fire whose whole body was burned, screaming at the top of his lungs while they sprayed this substance on him. Fucking horrifying, and my situation of just getting hit by a drunk driver did not seem so bad. Also, while I was in the same ER that night, a drunk guy had gotten stabbed at a bar fight, got up and wanted to leave, and when a nurse tried to stop him, he hit her in the face with a closed fist. Could not imagine working in the ER daily. That's crazy. Wild. It's crazy. Also, I had to edit that on the fly. There was a lot of grammar situations going on there. But that is a crazy story. Yeah, thank you. I think it turned out okay. From Birdie Bastard. I did a temporary job after being laid off from my usual work. An old guy was operating a machine, and it had a jam inside it. He pressed the emergency shutoff and opened the safety gate. As he cleared the blockage, the two huge presses crushed his ribs, trapping him. I ran across and managed to pry one out of the way to release him. Called the supervisor to get an ambulance, and this asshole didn't want to call one because they'd get in trouble with the owner. Because in the UK, if an ambulance is called for a workplace injury, then it has to be reported to the Health and Safety Executive, OSHA, for you American folk. I ran to my car and called the ambulance myself. Turned out, I might edit out that last sentence because that might be kind of political for UK people.
What? The OSHA? Everybody hates OSHA.
Oh, okay, fine.
Yeah.
Okay.
Don't worry about it.
I ran to my car and called the ambulance myself. Turned out the old guy had 4 broken ribs, and one of them was a flail, where the rib is broken off and moving around the rib cage. Good Lord. Good Lord. Got a call the next day from the employment agency saying that the company didn't want me back. I said, that's great, because I have no intention of going back to a company who were prepared to let someone die rather than call an ambulance. He got a lot of awards for this story, and he says, thanks for the awards. That is intense.
That is
pretty ridiculous. Crazy. From Comms on My Feets. I was working at the gas station one winter morning. Guy pulls in with, I'm assuming, his lady and maybe her mother? Dunno. Anyways, she starts talking smack, and of course, she's in the back, so it's not her car. He kicks her out in the middle of the snowstorm and leaves her. She just yelling at him. This goes on for 20 minutes. She then makes her way to the street, slowly starts to strip naked and dancing. I ended up calling the cops. But yeah, this and my check from that week were the most shocking things I had seen in my life. Oh, my goodness. Hey, send us your stories. Be like Liam.
Yeah.
Send us your stories. We want them. You can comment below if you're listening on YouTube. You can go to the show notes/description/episode notes of this episode in your podcast app. Click on the link to the YouTube video and comment there, or you can email us, theheatherandryanshow@gmail.com. We would love to hear from you. We would love it. Now, Ryan.
Yes.
We do not have any listener comments, so I thought it would be fun in the spirit of Halloween and death to find out the story. That was a brilliant evil laugh.
Thank you.
The look on your face when you did it. Okay. What was I saying? Okay, so we're going to, once again, I don't want to call the death I'm about to talk about a stupid death. It was not stupid at all. But this is actually the story, because all urban legend, Ryan, actually stems from something that has some truth in it, doesn't it?
Kernel of truth.
So this is the story of the actual Candyman. The source for this is another podcast called Bed Crime Stories. Props to that wordplay. Okay, here's what happened. We're in Houston, Texas, 1974, Halloween. A man named Ronald O'Brien takes his 11-year-old son and 8-year-old daughter out trick-or-treating. Joining them is his neighbor and his neighbor's 2 children. At one point, they approach a house that has no lights on, and they knock on the door. For the record, that is terrible Halloween etiquette. Let's move on. As you might expect, nobody answers, so they all leave. But suddenly the person inside has a change of heart and gives Ronald a bunch of humongous pixie sticks. Now, just in case you don't know what a pixie stick is, it's basically like a paper straw that's closed on either end, and it's just filled with sugar, like powdery colored sugar.
Flavored, too. Little tart.
Flavored, yes. I like a pixie stick. Haven't seen them in a while. Anyway, he hands out the pixie sticks to everyone, but soon it starts raining, so they decide they're done with trick-or-treating, and they all go home. As Ronald is tucking his kids into bed, he tells them that they can have one piece of candy each before bed, and his son Timothy chooses one of the pixie sticks. He tries to get it open. He has a bit of difficulty getting it open, but he finally gets it open, and he takes a big mouthful, but he immediately tells his father that it tastes really bitter. And a very short time later, he's complaining of a stomach ache. And the next thing he knows, he is puking into the toilet repeatedly, and then he just passes out. So, of course, he gets rushed to the hospital. But unfortunately, he dies on the way, literally less than an hour after he ate the bite from the pixie stick. An autopsy reveals that Timothy died of cyanide poisoning. So they immediately go out and they collect up all these pixie sticks because it was pretty obvious that it had been in the pixie sticks.
Yeah.
Luckily, nobody else ate the pixie sticks. Then they get busy testing these pixie sticks. Literally all of them have cyanide in them.
Wow.
When word gets out about there's like a bit of a local panic. People are afraid there's a crazy guy out there just giving out poison candy to their kids. And they all, like, people are just coming in and turning in the bags of Halloween candy to the police. So, obviously, the next step is they have got to figure out who is giving out the pixie sticks. So they get Ronald and the neighbor, and they go out, and they're having them retrace their steps from that night. But Ronald is having a really hard time remembering which house the pixie sticks came from, but he does eventually figure it out. They talk to the homeowner. Turns out he's an air traffic controller, and he was at work during the trick-or-treating time. And as it turns out, his alibi is legit, and they're able to rule him out as a suspect. So, what am I saying here?
They ruled him out.
They ruled him out. So now they're shifting their focus onto Ronald, Timothy's father. Because, spoiler alert, Ryan, one thing I didn't tell you earlier is that when they were leaving the house with the lights off, Ronald actually went back by himself and then reappeared with pixie sticks claiming to have gotten them from the person in the house.
Oh.
Uh-huh. He had also recently taken out 2 large life insurance policies on both of his children.
Wow.
And literally the morning after Timothy's death, he was already on the phone trying to collect. Investigators also found calculations. Wow, I have so many typos in this paragraph. I have no idea what I was trying to say.
Wait, so how many of these pixie sticks did he pass out to, like, a bunch of different kids? Or just his own kids?
No, he just passed them out, his 2 kids and then his neighbor's 2 kids. As far as I know, that's who had the pixie sticks.
Huh.
So they found calculations that Ronald had made of all the debts that he had. And if you took the total worth of the life insurance policies on both of his children, that amount of money was basically equal the debt that he had.
Oh.
And it wasn't just the police who found him suspicious. His own family was giving him the old side eye, the bombastic side eye.
Yeah.
That's what they call it now. Because the story got a bunch of media attention and they televised Timothy's funeral, and at the funeral, Ronald performed a song he'd written about his son going home to Jesus, right?
Mm.
When the family gathered around to watch the news coverage,
yeah,
everybody was like decided to go to bed right before the part where Ronald did his song, and he got like super pissed off about it.
Wow.
And this is not all. They had other evidence against Ronald. They found a pair of scissors at his house that had some plastic residue on it. That was chemically similar to the plastic on the pixie sticks.
Mm.
In questioning Ronald's professor at the community college in which he was enrolled at the time, they found out that he had been asking questions like, hey, what's more lethal, cyanide or arsenic? Hey, what's more lethal, cyanide or nightshade? Hey, what's more lethal, cyanide or rat poison? He was so stupidly obvious. What a stupid idiot. Anyways, long story short, he goes to trial. He gets found guilty of murder and also 4 counts of attempted murder because of the other people he handed the candy to.
Mm-hmm.
He was sentenced to death and executed by lethal injection in 1984. And he had a giant steak and a bunch of yummy stuff for his final meal. I swear to God, Ryan, if I had been the one to serve him that last meal, I would have put some fucking pixie sticks with that.
Yeah.
Just to make a point.
Sounds like it wouldn't have phased him at all. He would have been like, ooh, pixie sticks. Yum.
I would have put cyanide in them, Ryan.
Then you'd
cyanide.
be going to prison for murder. Isn't that crazy? Like, he's on death row. He's on his way to go get lethal injection. And you decide to take matters into your own hands and give him some cyanide before he goes lethally injections. That didn't make any sense. Before he goes and gets lethally injected.
It is interesting. Well, what if I was the executioner? Would that be a loophole?
Which is probably why I would imagine the executioner does not serve the last meal.
Perhaps. But also, based on the description in this story, dying of cyanide poisoning sounds horrific. So that probably there's something under cruel and unusual punishment there, I imagine.
Right.
Anyway, that was our month of true crime. I wanted to do some true crime in there because I don't have the patience to do a weekly true crime podcast. October is the month where I brought it.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah.
Now I understand. That just registered.
Most excellent. Let's see. What do I got here? I think we're ready to end off with some free advice here. Go ahead and take candy from strangers, just not from your own parents. No, I'm kidding. I'm kidding. But seriously, there's another story I heard that I vaguely remember about a parent poisoning their own kid's candy, right? Like, if you're getting candy at Halloween, like, nobody's out there trying to poison kids. This is kind of a myth.
Right.
Right. And I would say, don't poison your own children. That seems like
or other children.
Not a nice thing to do, and a terrible. What was that?
Or other children, for that matter.
Correct. Yes. Let's not poison children at all. How about that? How about that advice? And how about this advice? Share the podcast. If you've been enjoying what we've been what we've been putting down and recording every week, tell somebody about it and help us grow.
Yeah.
And may you have the most Halloween awesomeness you've ever had. Until
we play again.
I'm putting that after the end credits. I love it.